Hi everyone, so in the part 4 of this entire video training series about where I share my best strategies, tactics and step-by-step guides, right, to building a lucrative and profitable lifestyle business, right, moving forward, right, part 4 is probably one of the most important game plan, right, because chances are, right, most of you might know some of the information, the strategy, the tactics, but if you do not know how to implement and apply what you learn, chances are you'll not succeed at all. So in this entire video training, right, I'm going to share with you my best strategies, my mindset, my perspective, my tactics about how can you actually make sure you have a high performance personal success system and how can you apply it over and over again to get consistent and rapid results in your life. This is one of my favorite trainings so far, right? Please enjoy and I'll see you very soon. Alright, so now we have one of my favorite topics, right, that I've been studying for quite a couple of years, right, and this is called what I call about designing a high performance process, and this is stage number 4, right, of the 4-stage action plan to grow your business, right, and income, right, without overwhelm, stress, and effort. Alright, so one of my favorite quotes by Mel Robbins, right, that I've heard a couple of years back is this one thing, which is everything in life is figure-outable. Right, the made up word, right, but I love it because what she just shares is everything in life, right, what we're going to achieve is actually figure-outable because chances are someone has probably been in your shoes and done it before. So to be honest, right, what I shared, right, in the first 3 stages, right, then I would say, with enough time and effort, right, even though I just saved you a lot of time by structuring and making all concise into this entire framework, this entire training, you can figure out everything above by yourself. But what I've done is to simplify into easy to implement strategies and frameworks you can immediately apply in your life. But what I've realized time and time again, because I've been helping a lot of people over the past close to 10 years, right, for free, my friends, right, all the way I was a university student, my army, I've been helping a lot of people, right, teaching them, coaching them, whether it's on investments, whether it's in school, right, but, right, business, strategy, performance, productivity, mindsets, right. What I realized is that even with the best strategies in the entire world, it's all for nothing if you're unable to consistently implement. So this is another of my favorite quote, which is this, right? If information was the answer, all of us would be billionaires with perfect apps. And at the end of the day, it's not about information, right? It's all about implementation, it's about execution, it's about action. And this is why having a high performance process to not only optimize your energy, time, and focus, but to take action as well, right? It's going to be extremely important for your sustained growth and results. Okay, so with that, what exactly is a high performance process? So in our society today, right, people are addicted to work and deemed as a badge of honor, right? On the other hand, people tend to be lazy, right, and they tend to be unmotivated all the time. So work always comes first for a lot of people, and then I'll try to find time for everything else. However, take note, working hard and smart does not just mean about working more all the time. So most people, they get lost in the world of busy work and hustle. They begin to trick themselves in working more hours to appear busy. But one thing I've realized with a lot of my clients when we audit their entire time is they're wasting their time a lot on non-essential activities. And so the lack of clear boundaries will drastically harm the quality of your life. So when you're working, you feel guilty that you haven't spent enough time with your friends and family. And when you're friends or family, you feel guilty because you haven't accomplished enough at work. So over time, you get addicted to checking your phones, your emails, right? Skip workouts, leads to burnout. Your relationships start to suffer, your body will break down, and the very thing you thought would be gaining, right, in life will slowly, right, grind to a stop in your progress. So be very mindful of it. So over here, I'll be sharing you the exact system that has allowed me to work at times, sometimes even from 8 a.m. all the way to 12 midnight, not, right, for 14, 16 hours, right, sometimes even, while still having high levels of energy, focus, right, achieve multiple 6 figures without ever burning out. I've never burned out ever, right, and enjoy life with myself, my friends, right, my family throughout the entire process. So before I work through the system, here are a few foundational principles that work extremely well for me. Number 1. The most important productivity app in the entire world, right, is your calendar. The most successful and fulfilled people in the world all use their calendars to manage their appointments, their activities, their free time, etc. So I aim to achieve only 80% of everything I write down on my calendar, right? So just take note that I don't try to achieve 100%, right? Life happens. I know life happens. So trying to accomplish 100% is simply not realistic at all. So if I achieve about 80%, right, and the other 20% I can try to reschedule it, right, delegate it, right, to remove it, right, that's fine with me. So I always try to make sure about 80% of the time. One quick note is that, however, I'll still try to take note what happened that made that 20% or that missing the areas that's missing 100%, right? What is the reason why I did not do it? And if it's one-time off events, that's fine. But if something that's recurring, also it provides as very valuable feedback for me to learn in the future as well. Okay. Next thing, I treat myself as a professional NASCAR driver, right? So in a way, right, one thing I realized in a car racing, right, car driving, right, is that the professional drivers, they don't wait till their wheels are burnt out before they replace the tires. And I realized one core thing about high performers is they do not wait till they're tired, because that is what I call a space of reaction. You do not want to be a person of reaction all the time. You want to be a person who responds, who proactively does it. Right, so even before the wheels are burnt out, they already replace the tires. And I use it for my own life as well, right? So later, the first strategy, right, 3R strategy I'll share with you, which I proactively recharge, right, my life. Okay, so another thing, right? Sometimes you might say, hey, Mark, right? I have meetings, right, with my team members, right, with my bosses, my colleagues, right? So one of the things I realized in the high performance process is also a bit more negotiation, because I understand that sometimes your schedule is not controlled by you. But it doesn't mean that you cannot try and negotiate your way out of it or to change perspectives of the power of women discussion. So again, if you do not know stage 3, I talk about second positioning, and it's a very powerful thing to take note of. Next one. My high performance process is extremely reliant on my core priority, extremely reliant on my purpose. And that's why stage 1 again is actually back to the most important portions. If you have not done it, please go and do so. Okay, and then lastly is don't expect it to be perfect from the very first try. It will take time to get better after review, optimization, feedback, and support, which is what we do for all our clients as well. Okay, so strategy number 1, right? With that, let's get down to it. So this is what I call a 3R strategy, right? This has been a biggest game changer for me, right? For sustainable high performance, preventing burnout, and even the most successful athletes, CEOs, and smartest academics all practice this. So here's a breakdown. Number 1, review, right? So review, right, is I always look at what I've done well and the areas I feel I can be improving on. So right, so I always make sure I reflect, right, on a regular basis. And sometimes this is when I seek feedback from other people also. Number 2, recharge, right? We recharge in 4 different ways, right? Resting, so physically, right? Emotionally, right? Fun, enjoyment, right? Mentally, right? In terms of focus, right? Making sure I'm not too overwhelmed, right? Making sure that you're always clear-minded as much as you can. And spiritually, right? Your purpose in life, your reverence for life, right? Your religion with God, right? Recharge in 4 different ways. Next one. And then I talk about relaunch, right? And this is about setting intention about what's ahead. Is it goal setting, visualizing, so on and so forth. So I always do 3 R's all the time. And the big question is, how often? Right? I do it daily, right? Through deep breathing, meditation, cold showers, right? Journaling, right? Hourly, right? As well, right? So shutdown. I have a shutdown routine. Right? I'll talk about it later. I have a night routine as well, right? Weekly. Right, I have a social media detox, right, about once every week, about a couple of hours, right. I go on dates, right, to emotionally recharge, right, my life, my wife, my friends, right. I plan a review of the week to launch my game plan. Monthly, right, I have a massage, monthly reviews, full day out for myself, right, go to the onsen, and even quarterly staycation, holidays, learning retreats, right. So for example, right, when I talk about goal priority setting, right, every year there's 52 weeks. Every 12 weeks, right, I go all in, right, to my work, right, to my business, to my hustle, to improve. And then the 13th week, right, is a recharge week for me most of the time, right? So that's what I do for myself when it comes to the 3 R's. And what I do is I schedule all the above in my calendar as soon as I can. Okay? So strategy number 2, right? Designing, right, my daily routines. So while I typically do this for the weekends, right, there's value implying this for my for weekdays. There's a value implying for weekends as well. So what I do, right, is I use what I call my perfect typical day. And I'll focus on 3 main sections to design my daily routines. My morning, my shutdown, and night. However, please remember that in this section, you're not supposed to copy my routines. Take some time to explore what works for you, and it's more important that you understand the purpose of your activity as well. So the Monday, right, is for me, right, to start my day right. You start it with grounded, with focus, with positivity, with visualization, right, to be directed, right, in my morning, right, and just to wake me up, right, in the morning to make sure that I am in the best possible state. Okay, so what I've realized, however, is a lot of people do use this portion, right, as a way to procrastinate on their most important activities. So your morning routine shouldn't take too much time, such that your best periods of time when you wake up, when you're most alert, usually if you're not sleep deprived, right, is wasted on doing routines. So for example, I only have a quick half an hour, right? For me, some people like 1 hour, 2 hours, some people like it in about 5 minutes even, right? So wake up, drink water, hydration works very well. Right, I wash up, I do a cold shower to wake myself up even further. Quick stretch and movement, because I tend to be very tight in my body if I don't do it. Right, then I visualize my day, do a meditation, right, and it takes about half an hour. And I also look through my day's activities, and for me to set intention to be great as well. So all this takes about half an hour usually, maximum. Doesn't take too long. Okay. Other tips to make this work, right? Alarms, right, to place away from your bed so you don't snooze, is something that even I'm also working on right now, right? Which is to not use snooze too often, right? I really don't like it, so I put it away from my bed, right? I try not to check my phones, right? Again, I'm very open, right? It's something that I'm still looking at better on, and things have improved, right? But I try not to check my phone first 30, 60 minutes upon wake up, so I can be fully grounded about what's my activity that I want. I wake up consistently at times, right? Weekdays, weekends, right? As much as I can, because that helps the body, right, to be more consistent. And again, I remind, test, and see what works best for you for your morning routine. I have a client, right? Their morning routine is actually to watch Netflix every day, 20 minutes. She has the self-control, but that she does it while eating breakfast for her to start the day in a very positive mood also. Okay, so the next one is shut down. It's not your night routine. So shut down, right, is when you're finished with your day's work, right? And for you to transit to more relaxing night activities, whether is it your full-time job, right, side hustle, whatever it is, right? So it doesn't mean you stop all work, just that you need to shift your frame of mind. Because what I realize is a lot of people who are in the 9 to 5 work, even after work, they're still thinking about it, right? Even when their friends, their family, their children, when they're supposed to be resting, they're still thinking about work. So shutdown routine is an indication to your body, right? They are willing to transit over to the next activity for the day. So this is my personal shutdown routine, right? I do some deep breathing to ground myself. I review my day through journaling or tracking, right? I plan for the next day, right? So I just write down what I call my top 3 daily highlights. All my clients are required to write that for us as well, right? So that I know what are the top 3 things I'll get done the next day, right? And I physically shut off my laptop and calendar and say the word shut down, right? This is I learned from this professor called Cal Newport, right? Who talked about this one physical thing, because you are just communicating your brain. They are ready to shut down for the work day's activities and we need to transit. Okay, so sometimes I still work at night, by the way. I still do shutdown routine around 6, 7 p.m. before my dinner, right? Because then I can take a walk, I can work out, I can be a bit more reflective, right? I'm not too intense, right, for the day, because that will affect my sleep. Okay, so next one, right, what I feel is night, and to my opinion, right, mastering the night routine is actually most difficult, right, but most important one to implement, because this will directly refer to the quality of sleep that you have. So the duration of the activities for this period is highly dependent on your preferences, but do test out and see what works best for you. So for example, I do a quick wash up. The wash up and bathing, right, is the indication to my body there's time for me to shut down. It's time for me to get ready to sleep. I do some body care, some hair care, a bit of stretching, right, for me to take care of myself, right? I may listen to music or catch up with my close one while doing it, and then I prepare to sleep. So you can say that this is about 40 to 55 minutes, right, as well. And I also use this thing called the 10-3-2-1-0 strategy, right? That I learned from Brendon Burchard, right? And this other guy called Craig Ballantyne, right? What people call the most disciplined man in the world, right? So there's this thing called strategy, right? So 10 hours before the bed, I'll try not to have any more stimulants. So if I try to sleep at 12, right, I'll try to, my latest time I'll be drinking coffee will be about 2 p.m., right? If I can, right? 3 hours before bed, do my very best not to have any food, alcohol, other beverages. I'll drink water, but not too much also, because your body wastes energy trying to digest. 2 hours, right? As much as possible, not to have electronics. I know it's no more work. So it shouldn't be too intense. Even though I know some people like to read at night for their work, right? But it shouldn't be too intense. Okay. 1 hour before bed, right? No electronics, right? I know sometimes it's a little bit tough. So if not, right, do take note that you can actually do block out blue light. So for example, right, I will show you my app that I have. Your phones, right, you actually can create a night mode, right, whether it's Android or Apple. But I've also this app called Flux, right, so you can check this out as well. Right, Flux to block out the blue light at a certain time so that you don't get too much light glaring at you, right, which might affect your sleep cycle. Okay, and 0 as much as possible, snooze 0 times. Okay, so a couple of tips again, right? Put an alarm to sound off when it's 5 to 15 minutes before a night routine begins. So it's a night alarm, not a day alarm, it's a night alarm, right? If it's taking time you sleep, reading a non-electronic book might help, right? Ensure what you're reading is not stimulating your mind. Another thing I do is actually deep breathing, right? Deep breathing, right? Box breathing helps as well, right? They help you to ground yourself even further, putting on blanket, right? Go temperatures and all. I have another bonus resource over for you. And so this is actually the best tips and strategies I've learned about sleep, right? From learning from some of the people that I really respect, from different people, right? Brendon Burchard, right? Alex Hormozy, a couple of people they can check out. So these are all the things I've been trying to do, right? To improve my sleep. And it's worked pretty well, right? About 10-15 minutes when I do want to sleep, I tend to fall asleep because I've done a lot of things that is in this entire guide. And you get it all for free over here. Okay? So, with that, let's talk about strategy number 3. right? So now you have strategy number one, right? About in terms of your 3R, you talk about daily routines. The next thing, right, is what we call your regularly scheduled activities, right? So now you'll be deciding the regularly scheduled activities to be done on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis, right? The more you schedule activity in advance, the less time effort you have to spend thinking about it or wondering if you will get it all done. So here are some examples. You can schedule all of this in your Google Calendar, right? So for example, right, on the last Sunday, right, of each month, I'll be actually reviewing my finances, right, now together with my wife, right? You can check my investment portfolio maybe every third Wednesday of the month, or you can check your revenue business numbers every day. So take note of what are the main things you want to do on a regular basis and schedule it. So for example, right, some of my mentors I even know, right, they even schedule a time to cut their hair, to cut their nails, right? Because they really, to them, they live and die by the calendar, right? And this is what you want to schedule on there. Again, some of you might be thinking, if I schedule too much, is it too tight? Right? Again, right, is it going to be too boring in my life, right? Again, number one, take note of creating a system and schedule that works for you. So you're not tied down to anyone's expectations, right? Find out what works for you. But number two, what I've realized time and time again, right, the people with the most amount of freedom in their lives are those that actually create this sort of schedules and structures and systems, right? People that have zero schedules, even if they, let's say, they're financially free, I guarantee you their lives, right, they're going to get a bit bored, right? They're not very fulfilled in their life because they are not getting things done as well. Okay, so let's go back, right? Health. Right, so going a health checkup maybe every 6 months, every 1 year, right? Maybe the first December of every year, you can go for a health checkup, right? Going for solo social media detox every last Saturday of every quarter, links to the 3Rs as well, and even a weekly yoga session, right? So every now I do it Friday morning actually, right? My weekly yoga session. Okay, relationships can be every Friday night, surprise dinner every month, anniversary, friend gathering. So again, depends, right? Everything that you want to do. And the last strategy, right, would be deciding your daily themes of the week. And this is one of the most powerful things. I realized that when I was interviewing global speaker, right, Eric Fung, that he does it himself, right? And I did it all the way since I was a 9 to 5. So what you do is, on a daily basis, to decide your core focus for each day and period of the week being on work, personal time. So for example, right, I've tested it out, right? So when I was doing a 9 to 5, the daily theme of the week, the most important is your evenings. So for example, right, I'll show you later, right, about what I mean. So for example, when I was a 9 to 5, right, Monday night was for investments, right, Tuesday night was side hustle, right, Wednesday night can be for learning, right, Thursday night for side hustle again, right, Friday night is for my date, right, Saturday night is my friends, Sunday night is for family. So there's a typical 9 to 5. That means Saturday night, I don't really do work at night, I just got my friends, or Sunday night is with my family, right. I also have a daily theme for my morning deep work, right, as a business entrepreneur right now. So Mondays, I might have meetings and content creation. Number Tuesdays, I'll be talking about systems and coaching and delivery. Wednesdays is again coaching and delivery. And I do it not because I am stuck with it, because I love it, I enjoy it. I'm creating new systems and templates, right? And Thursdays, I'm creating all together, right, for it as well. Okay? And Friday then is for me to think about strategy. Saturdays, learning days, right? And then Sundays, recharge timings. Okay? So it can be for exercise, it can be for lunch times as well, right? So what is your daily theme of the week? Okay, so over here, do spend time working on this section, right? If before proceeding the next steps, right? As usual, if you ask to do all of you with this for guaranteed results, all you do now is to apply to speak with our team here, where we'll give you the demo, we'll craft out the entire calendar system for you, we'll be reviewing all together with you, right? But I guarantee you guys, this is something that it took me a lot of time to learn, to craft, to strategize every single thing over here. I've actually consulted folks who are making about multiple six, right, figures, right, in this one exercise alone. So do not waste this, right? This is a very powerful exercise that can apply to yourself in your entire calendar. If you like the demo, right, you can apply for potential call, right, with me, for me to show you the demo as well, right? But if not, please go and do it. And with that, right, we end off stage number 4. Right. However, I want to give you another bonus, right, in this entire training, right, which is how do you guarantee your success without relying on willpower and motivation every single time? So this is on top of the high performance process. These are the top 3 things that I do, right? And I recommend all my clients to do for them to consistently take action without relying on willpower and motivation. And this is based on studies of more than 100 productivity books, right? Hundreds of hours of learning, implementing, right? 3 core things to reduce procrastination, take consistent action, and progress faster and quicker without burning out. Okay, so maximize, I'll be sharing all of the 3 ingredients to you over here as well. Okay, so the first ingredient, right, very simply put, is accountability. So I'm going to and what I share with all my clients, right, who tend to procrastinate, right, who tend to struggle with taking consistent action, I will always ask them one question: how is it really important for you to take consistent action and to stop procrastinating? And I ask them, are you really serious about going through it? And then they'll be like, yes. And I'll ask them, are you sure? And that will scare some of them, right? And so what happens, what I ask them is, right, because there are actually two ways, right, to handle things like procrastination and taking constant action. Number one, right, the long-term way is to work on the mindsets, right? The mindsets, the perspectives, maybe they have a limiting belief about it, right? There's some resistance to it. That's one, right? Addressing it. Second way, the short-term method, right, is what I call the accountability, right, based method, which is end of the day, which one is more important to you right now, right? So what I always ask people is, would you want the long-term method or the short-term method? But the question is actually a trick question, because why not do both? Why not, yes, take some time to work on the mental models, limiting beliefs, mindsets, so that long-term you don't make that a struggle anymore. But if you're really serious about making results, why not have some accountability, right? So, and especially what I call level 1, because doing this has helped my clients to go from a 20% habit completion rate to 95%, right, in a matter of weeks. And we have a group chat for my clients just specifically on accountability, right? So this is what I call artificial deadlines, constraints on meaningful stakes. That means, right, getting people to say, if I don't complete this by the day, if I don't complete this by the week, or complete this by month, I will pay a fine, I will do a forfeit, right? I will pay a penalty, right? And so this is one of the most powerful thing people can do for the short-term returns. The big question is whether is the person serious enough, right, to want that goal, to create accountability for themselves. Because at the end of the day, right, then it's up to you. And again, right, even if you don't do it, even if you don't take action, even accountability, and you pay the fine, so what? You get to learn a very valuable lesson. So this is something that's worked a lot for me and my clients, right? For me as well in the past, right? That's helped us to skyrocket our habit completion rates and to take consistent action. Okay. However, imagine if the rest of your life you're just doing daily accountability, right? Or level 1 accountability. It's going to be very stressful. So we always want people to bring them from level 1 to level 2, right? Which is to remind yourself who will actually be positively impacted and benefit from your actions. So this is a deeper level of accountability where it's not just in terms of penalties and deadlines and stress, but right in terms of who will benefit in your life. Okay, so for example, right, you're trying to quit smoking, right? Remind yourself who else will benefit if you actually succeed. Is it your children, your friends, right? You keep the morning routine. Try to remind yourself, right, how your morning routine will actually help you to help more people, be able to take care of your family, friends better by being more focused at work. Remind yourself why you're doing it. Okay, if you're an entrepreneur, right, they're able to provide even greater impact. So for example, sometimes, right, when I cannot wake up, right, I then start telling myself that why are you so freaking selfish? Because every minute I don't wake up in the morning to get my work done, to help more clients, to help my community, to help people, right? I'm actually depriving people, right, of living a better life. And so that's what sometimes I use that, right, as an inspiration, as an accountability, as a motivation, right, for me to go on. For example, right, when I launched this, right, there were about 150 people that immediately wanted to access this. And so when I'm feeling unmotivated, when I don't really love shooting videos all the time, but I remind myself, who am I doing this for? Right? What if I can just impact that one person's life to create that 6-figure income? This will be freaking worth it. And that's what drives me to do things even that I don't like. Number 3, right? At the end of the day, right? Besides level 2, right? You also want to do level 3, which is, at the end of the day, are you someone who is accountable to yourself as a person? And this is what we call living with integrity. Are you someone who keeps your agreements in life? And this is based on one of the most powerful programs I've ever joined in my life, right? Who talks about keeping your commitments, your agreements. And more importantly, right, we talk about the word confidence. Most people are not confident in their lives because they have never been able to consistently keep to their own agreements in their life. So at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, right, are you someone, right, who says whatever you mean? Are you someone, right, who keeps to your word at the end of the day? And that's why this is one of my most favorite quotes as well, which is, your word is your bond. Every day you're going to ask yourself, right, whatever I say, right, do I actually get it done? Am I just very loose to my words? Right? And so this is something what I call level 3 accountability, which is over time, whatever you declare you will do, you actually get it done. If you do not, right, don't make crazy empty promises. Whether is it the timing to meet people, the deadlines to complete your work, whether you get something done, right, your goals and achieve, right, remember your word is your bond. And you could go even deeper. How many years, if you really want to achieve the kind of life you want, right, how many years have you tolerated living a mediocre life in any area, even though you said you wanted to achieve a greater period of life? How many times have you said you'll do something but you failed to do so? In the past week alone, how many promises and agreements do you keep making to yourself when it comes to succeeding but you haven't been keeping? And again, if you take some 5 to 10 minutes to pause this right now to ask yourself, right, about these questions, and ask yourself what you want to have moving forward. I guarantee you, right? In the future, in the long term, you don't need to just have level 1 accountability. That is going to be a long-term problem, right? You remember what you're doing this for, and over time keep the agreements, and that's how you're going to achieve that consistent motivation, the results, the progress you want in your life. Okay, so again, right, this is also why in my program we do have 24/7 accountability. People submit their daily accountability with us. We track our clients on a daily basis. We discuss about every client's progress weekly to keep you accountable and responsible right over your life. Okay, so again, right, on this portion, right, do reflect on this. What are some penalties will you give yourself if you do not achieve them? Who else will benefit and positively impacted from actions? And describe how you will feel and what actions will be if you're someone who could keep your promises to yourself. Okay, so moving on. Ingredient number 2, feedback. Okay, so if you're currently struggling with a lack of consistent growth and progress despite taking lots of action, this section is for you, especially improvement. So effective feedback is vital for your growth and exposes blind spots, accelerates your progress, keeps you grounded, right? In terms of making sure you're not complacent, right? Increases self-awareness, right, about what you're doing, enhances overall life well-being. Okay, so 3 levels of feedback very quickly. Number 1, self-feedback. Right, so these are review sessions where you reflect on your progress, right, your results, and take a look at what you have done well and what could have been improved. So this is when you take feedback from others, right? Be it your friends, your family, your audience, your clients, your mentors, right? So others. And number 3, facts. These are actual numbers that you cannot lie, you cannot run away from. These are actual numbers. For example, you can have yourself and even other people saying you're exercising very often, you're living very healthily, but if your weight is still overweight, if your health tracker is still so that it sucks, you cannot run away from the feedback that you're still not doing well in your health. Okay, so a couple of notes of feedback before I go a little bit tactically. All right, one thing I love is this big quote, which is mistakes now versus mistakes later. You rather make, one thing I always remind myself when I make mistakes or I fail in something, right, is I rather make it now than later when I have probably more commitments, when I've maybe less energy as I'm older, right? When I have a bigger maybe portfolio or more things to lose, when I'm maybe having a team. So I'd rather make mistakes now and to make sure I don't repeat that in the future. So I'm always grateful I make mistakes right now. Next thing, feedback is always there to serve you, right? So my take is, right, whatever feedback people are giving, right, even though it might think is unwarranted or they don't see the big picture, it's a feedback to me about maybe the communication I can make. So instead of being defensive and closed off all the time, right, every feedback I receive, right, provides massive opportunities for growth. So for example, right, I have my client feedback, right, on almost a quarterly, right, or the monthly basis, right, and anyone who gives a 7 and below, I will immediately connect with them, not to scold them or to feel pissed off, but to ask them really deeply, right, to go deeper, maybe some of their comments, so they can really learn how to live, improve better. Okay. One thing is when you ask feedback from others, right, you, especially your friends, you probably have to remind them the importance of it, because in today's world, most people don't want to give you honest, direct feedback. Most people are afraid of hurting your feelings, right? They don't want to feel bad. They don't want to be the bad guy, right? So I always remind people to be very honest with me. Okay. Next thing, I also schedule it, again, back to my regularly scheduled activities for my high performance process, right? I always schedule it regularly, right? So don't seek feedback only when you feel like doing it, but if you want sustainable growth, you need consistent feedback. Put those sessions on your calendar, right, to do it. Next thing, be very careful who you take feedback from. Again, a lot of people will give a lot of advice, a lot of feedback, but everyone these days can do it. But not all of them will be of quality to you. So this is one of the biggest lessons I learned, right, back in 2021, right, when I realized that because I was following so many great entrepreneurs, leaders, right, people I was admiring, but because I was trying to take all the different advices and feedback, I was getting very confused for quite a while. But it's only when I started getting clear, right, about this portion, right, that I was able to get the right kind of feedback and give me the right amount of growth. Okay, so whilst recommend be open, you need to discern, identify. So ask if the person, right, has the results they want, whether your values are aligned, and does the person truly understand you. So for example, right, if let's say I wanted to find a wife, right, and is a dating coach, right, who's giving me advice, but the dating coach is going to just basically teach people, right, about how can you sleep with a lot of women. That's not the kind of coach I want, right? And that also links to the values, right, as well, definitely, right? There's the person even get the results I'm looking for. Maybe that person is a great dating coach, but he himself has never had a wife before, right? He's never had a person to marry before, right? So I make sure the person is aligned. And does that person truly understand me, right? So for example, right, that's why I'm always very emphasize the fact of having your mentors and coaches to really understand you rather than mass market programs, right? Because if the person doesn't understand you, right, he or she might give you advice or feedback that's totally misaligned to you in the first place, right? So very quickly, I always ask my clients, right, about the long term, which is, are they building a business for lifestyle, or are they building a business for legacy, right? So for example, right, if I'm trying to build for lifestyle, I can make, let's say, $50,000 per month, right? Do I really need to learn how to generate 8 figures to do it? I don't, right? But some people, when they give you advice, right, they have no wrong intention, but they're trying to give it from a perspective of someone who's trying to make 8 figures. So that's the problem, right? And so there's some people that has great advice, but if you take it, it might actually be misaligned to you. So be very mindful of that as well. So this is what we talk about, getting feedback. Okay? And the ingredient number 3, right, the last ingredient, right, to really sustain your progress, your improvement, your growth, right, without willpower or motivation all the time, is to optimize your environment. You will never ever beat your environment at the end of the day. And this works from a physical, right, emotional, right, some people say the spiritual level as well, right. It was one of my coaches, right, Stuart Tan, right, 8-figure entrepreneur, right, NLP coach for more than 25 years and speaks to 500,000 people, right, worldwide, all around the world, right. He has this, he was teaching me how when you actually enter a room, if you actually are in tune enough, you can actually sense the energy of the room. Whether were there arguments there before, right? Were there positive feelings, right? Sleepy feelings. And that's why, right, most people will actually recommend for you, right, not to be on your bed, right, a bedroom when you're doing your work. Even though sometimes, like me, right, I still have to do it because of interest of my workspace and my situation right now. So, back to environment. If you ever find yourself unmotivated or a lack of willpower, or just not growing as sustainably as you like, chances are your environment is not optimized to support you. Optimizing your environment is key as it surpasses relying on willpower, facilitates faster growth, progress, help overcome distractions, right, and provides essential ingredients for sustainable results. So I love this topic because for me, I hate using discipline. All right, I know discipline is important. I need to demonstrate at times as well, right? But I hate using it all the time because it's very tiring, right? I love to do things that I enjoy, that I love. I'm a very freedom-based person. And using discipline is not the thing that really excites me in life. Okay, so 3 types of environment. Number 1, physical. Right, these are the physical objects, right, around you and your workspace. They can include anything from your desk, your posters, your room, your house, right? So a few key principles, right? Temptations to be out of reach. That means if you're trying to lose your weight, don't put snacks at places where it's easy to reach. Try to put it behind a lock, right? Try to put it at the last part of the cupboard that's hard to reach. You have to take a freaking ladder, right? So temptations out to be reached, right? Next thing, growth objects are easy to reach. So for example, right, if I want to drink water, right, I know it's important. I have water right in front of me. I can take it in 2 seconds, right? So make sure, right, that these things that you want to use, right, are very easy to reach. And that's why sometimes, right, my phones, right, I put them very hard to reach as well. Next one, prepare what you need in advance. So for example, you're trying to run, right, in the morning, the day before, try to prepare your gym clothes in advance. Even better, what the clothes I wear, I can use it immediately to wear and go to the gym already, right? So sometimes I do that as well. Okay, surround yourself positive reminders, right? So for example, right now my desk, I'm actually looking at my wife, right? The reminders of who am I doing all this for, right? And when you surround yourself with it, right, it gives you that drive, the energy, the motivation, right? Again, you don't have to actively seek for it because it's automatically around you already, right? And number 5, right, free yourself from hassle and distractions. Your work desk, right? How distracting it is, what kind of mess it is. You can do it as clean as possible, the better. Because even if it's messy, you might unconsciously think that doesn't affect you, but what happens is unconsciously your brain is actually activating all this, and that is a bit of that drains your energy as well. Quick example, right? So when I went to a shopping mall in Singapore, right, called Takashimaya, I was trying to buy my coffee, right? But after my gym. And so what happened is from the space where I was trying to buy my coffee, right, all the way to I was going home after that, I was walking past maybe more than 20-30 stalls of yogurt, bubble tea, snacks, sugar, food, the smells, popcorn. And even though I did not buy any of that, it was actually really using my willpower, right, to say no all the time. It was very easy for me to stop and buy something and go ahead, right? So, and even for me, right? So, one thing you know is really want to optimize your environment, right? Because imagine if you are facing all these temptations every single day, then you're screwed, right? So again, right, free it, right? Because your unconscious mind is actually draining energy if you're always putting in distractions, temptations all the time as well. Next one, digital environment. Okay, so they include anything that could be in your phones, your laptop, your tablets, your apps, your social media feeds, your bookmarks. So key principles for your devices, right, is stop on unnecessary notifications. I default off all notifications, right? Even my messages, my banking apps, actually I forgot, but I actually stop it because I realized that if I need to, I can just go to the app directly without waiting for the notification. I have a do not disturb mode, right, at a particular time, right, my work time, right, nobody's going to call me, right, except for a few emergency contacts, right, they have a do not disturb mode, and people know that, and even my close ones know that first time they call me, if I automatically reject them, it means that I don't want to be disturbed. So unless call me a second time if it's an emergency, right, I want to focus on my time. Right, clean and useful home screen. Your home screen needs to be things that is actually going to be useful for you, right? Clean, make sure it's useful, beneficial, no temptations that are not going to serve you, right? I create categories for my phones as well, right? For my phone, my folders, my apps, and I also have some positive reminders, my phones for my goals, my vision as well. Okay, for info consumption, right? Again, I always feel that I'm okay to consume information, right? I'm okay to go on social media, right? As I always share with people, right? Which is I can be actually making progress in my life by being constantly distracted on my phones. If that period of time I want to be I want to be consuming content. I want to be scrolling social media feed to find out what's going on, my friends, my life, the loved ones, right? I can be making progress in my life. So it's not a bad thing if it's something that's intentional. So I schedule a time. So for example, right, when I do my wash up time, right before my wash up time, I take about 15 minutes, right, 10-15 minutes, just to scroll the phone, just to find out what's going on in the world, and to reply messages, reply my stories, reply my comments as well. Okay, I actively unfollow people. If I find people are toxic, not adding value, right, writing things that is distracting me that I don't like or I don't enjoy, right, I tend to unfollow. Right, again, not everybody like it, but again, I'm very particular about my info diet. Okay, I star my favorites. So you can do it on YouTube, Facebook, right? YouTube, I think you can put a notification bell, right? Facebook, Instagram, you can put under favorites, right? So there are different ways to create. To start a favorite, so that on the news feed or the algorithm, you will always see their content first, right? So that's what I do, right? Next one, be clear of my intention. So every time I'm consuming content, I know what's my intention out there. As I mentioned, that's why I schedule the time. And number 5, pay the price, right? So what I mean by pay the price, right, is basically when I consume information, I will always seek to create some form of content myself as well. Whether is it commenting on some people, right? Where is it creating my own content? Where is it posting a story? So I always want to pay the price, not by money, but in terms of creating something. Because I don't want just to be consuming all the time. I want to be creating, adding value to the world also. So I always look to pay the price as well. Okay, so. And the next one, right? We talk about social. So these are the people that you can hang out with, right? Including your partner, your friends, your loved ones, right? Your colleagues, your acquaintances, right? But first thing, I'm going to ask this about your closest friends right now. How often do you speak to them? How well do they know the real you? Or are you trying to put on an image on the front? How much do your closest friends encourage you to go after your dreams? Better yet, how much do your closest friends challenge you? Or are they just owing yes people around you? Right? And number 5, how much fun do you really have with them? Because if you don't really have fun, right, do you really want them to be your girlfriends, right? So whatever activity you're doing, you're talking about, is it something that you enjoy in the first place? So if you're dissatisfied with any of the answers above, it's a sign to make a change, whether to increase more friends, right, to change, right, or to classify them into different categories. So according to Brandon Burchard, right, there are 3 groups of friends and loved ones you can classify them into. Growth friends, right, where these are people that you can spend the most amount of time with. They inspire and challenge you to grow, to learn and improve. You enjoy their company, they enjoy your goals, they support your goals, and they push you out of your comfort zone. These are the people that you, right, appreciate the most and you want to spend most time with, especially if growth is something that's important to you. Maintenance friends, right? These are providing companionship, right, and a sense of belonging, right? So focus on maintaining existing relationships and shared friend experiences. So maybe last time, right, you all have spent some great times together. So now you have built a great connection. So these are the people for you. Maybe you can catch up maybe once or twice every year, right? Wish them on birthdays, catch up. So these are called maintenance friends, right? Again, there's nothing wrong with having people who used to be your growth friends, maybe in school or at your work, but now they're maintenance friends. To me, there's really nothing wrong with it. All right. Number 3, old friends, right? Again, I don't like to classify people as they're not my friends anymore or they're toxic and I want to cut them out. To me, I do. So even my friends who might be so-called toxic or negative, right? I don't really call them as like as cutting them out, because who knows, one day in their lives, something might change and hey, they might be creating a lot of value to the world. I never know. So there's some people I used to teach investing about 10 years ago, right? Because I used to specialize in that. They never got what I was doing. Only about 5, 6, 7 years later when they graduated, they started coming back to me. Right? Not in terms of like, oh, right, you're back to me and let me teach you again, right? No, but more of like, hey, now we have common values, common interests, great. Let's connect back and let's try to see how we can help one another out of it. So again, I want to go this point, but this can be a bit sensitive for some people, right? A bit emotionally draining, right? But take note that I don't cut friends. You don't have to cut friends out. And there's nothing wrong with having some friends who are just maintenance or old friends. That means old friends are basically you don't have to go and spend too much time, right, interacting with them, right? But instead of feeling bad and sad about it, right, realize that if you're really truly serious about growing in life, right, your business, relationships, your health, your mental well-being, right, find more people. And if you don't have enough growth friends right now, ask yourself, what sort of social environment are you hanging out with? Are you hanging out with a community of like-minded people who is after growth, or are you trying to do it all alone? And one of the best things I've done in my life. So for example, when I invested $30,000 in X Factor, right? Besides the content, the coaching alone, right? One of the best things I've gotten out was the community there. People who I'm extremely grateful for to be in my life. So the question for you, right, is are you satisfied with your level of growth friends or your social environment in your life right now? So review, right, the closest 10, 15 friends you hang out with, right, would they be considered as your ideal growth friends, right? If not, you want to do something about it. Rate yourself from 1 to 10 how satisfied the number and quality of relationships with growth friends you have currently, and what can you do to possibly spend more time to nurture or make new growth friends? Is it giving more value first, helping more people, right? Is it initiating meetups, right, stuff first, finding common interests with people, right, or investing in it, right? So to me, right, I'm more than happy to invest in masterminds growth, right, if I know I can meet more like-minded people there, which is why I already know that if I ever were to retire or to hit financial freedom, I will never stop investing in masterminds and growth, right, because this is something that I enjoy, right, deep in my heart. Okay, so wrapping it up, right? So remember, success in life has nothing to do with implementation, nothing to do with information, but everything to do with implementation. Please remember this, right? Whatever I shared tonight, right, today, right, will sound wonderful, but if you don't implement it, right, you won't get it. However, whether you feel excited, right, you feel a bit overwhelmed, right, or you're just nervous about what's to come, right, based on this entire training, right? Here's my final tip: remember your why. Why do you decide to embark on this journey? Why are you working so hard for? Why do you decide not to be the majority of people? Well, majority of people probably wouldn't be watching this training right now, because most people watch this training is probably wants a high level of life. What's your motivation? Is it your family, your friends, your lifestyle? And so this is a fun exercise I get to do with many of my clients, my workshop participants, which is writing a future letter to yourself using the website futureme.org. You can go and check it out. And so I want you to write down two questions. If you implemented everything you have learned in this 4-stage action plan, I hope you have been, but not only implement, but execute it consistently, right? How will your life look like in the next 10 weeks, 10 months, and 10 years? If you did not implement this in the past 2 days, right, in this entire exercise, right? So let's say it's 2 days, right, or this entire exercise. Okay, right? How will your life, right, look like in the next 10 weeks, 10 months, and 10 years? Right? So I think this is going to be a very important question, right, to ask yourself. And again, not that this is only for you, this is not for me. You're not going to you don't have to send it to me. If you want to, I would love to read it, right? But this is really for you, right? So they can just recharge, right, and to ask yourself to relaunch, right? What's the kind of life you want to live, and why are you doing all this for, right? And I hope this post, right, you can just check it out a little bit, right? It inspires you, because I did this very similar exercise, right, back in 2020, right? And in just about 1 year after writing this, right, yes, I did cry a little bit to myself, right? I just wrote down all the goals I wanted in 1 year. And when I wrote it, right, and I was reviewing it, right, when I was clearing some of my old books and training manuals, right, I was like, wow, like, I can't believe I was able to accomplish all this. And I'm not saying that after the plan, you will be guaranteed to achieve whatever you want, right? But use it as a way to get started, to spark the light, spark the entire momentum in you, right? And remember, right, this entire 4-stage action plan is just the beginning. Embrace the journey always, wherever you are right now, right? I hope you'll be able to embrace the entire journey, right? Use this entire action plan hopefully to support your goals one way or another, right? And it'll be all completely worth it. Okay, so if not, right, if you want us to do again everything for you, right, whatever you share this entire action plan, these 43 pages, right, you can, right, apply to speak to my team, right, over here, right. We love to support you. Again, we have a money back guarantee, right. That means if you don't at least 2x your investment with us, right, we'll actually refund you every single dollar back, right, if you feel that it's not of value to you. We only want to find people that we can really work with for the long term, right, or to get them the results, right, in the shortest period of time. Okay, so if not, I hope you guys enjoyed. My quick favor, if you actually enjoyed this entire training, right, this entire videos, right, me going deep with you, right, please, right, write a please write a testimonial if you could, right? Or write a quick shout out, right? Or drop me a DM if you actually enjoyed it, right? I would love to read comments, feedback from all of you if you actually enjoyed it. And as we improve, right, our program, our support even further, right, we will love working with you one day in the future. All right, see you guys. Have a great day. Bye bye.